Hello everyone, this is Victor, your host at Study Lab, and we're continuing our Bash scripting basic series. So last time we discussed the if statement, so you might want to check that out in case you haven't done so already. But today we're going to have a look at the case command. So let's get into it. Let's open up a new file and start with the usual shebang line being bash. So what is the case command? If you have a very long if statement with simple test expressions, like let's say you have a variable here, var equals 5, and you want to test if var equals 1, and then you do something here. So commands here, in case var equals 1, elif var equals 2, then you do something else. Elif var equals 3, and then you do something else. Elif, and so on and so forth, and finally maybe you have an else here and some other commands in case this variable doesn't have any of these values that we are testing here. And finally you end your if. Well, there's an easier way to do that, actually a prettier way of doing it, using the case command. So the way you would translate this using a case command would be case var in, and then hit enter, and now you start entering the possible values that you are targeting. So 1, and then a parenthesis, and enter, and then you can enter your commands here. In case var equals 1, then 2, and your commands for when var equals 2, 3, and your commands and finally, when you get to the else part, you can use the star or asterisk for that, for the default case, and you can enter your other commands here. And finally, we end the case structure by typing esac, which is the reverse of case, esac. Also, case allows you to do this. You can use one case for multiple patterns, so 1 or 2 or 3, and then you can have some commands to execute in case var is either one of these 3 values. Okay, so let's do a simple script using the case command. Okay, let's name this Ask Alexa, and you can see why later. So shebang bin bash, and for this I'm going to be using a special parameter, the star or asterisk parameter, so $star. And let's see what this does before we continue developing our script. So let's just echo out $star first, save this and make sure it's executable, and let's do /ask Alexa to execute the script. And now add a list of parameters, so param 1, param 2 and param 3. Hit enter, and you can see that the script echoes out our list of parameters here. So basically what the star parameter does is it expands this into the parameter values passed on to the current script. Now it acts a little different when you quote it. So when it's unquoted and when it's quoted, those are two different behaviors. So what happens when it's quoted? If I just save this and execute again, it's the same output. But what this actually does is it looks into a special variable called ifs, and it uses the first character in the value of this variable as a separator for the parameters. So what you could do is you could change ifs to, let's say, a comma, and let's just quote it because it's easier to read. So we're setting the value of ifs to a comma character, but since this variable might be used by other scripts, it's always good practice to first save it into another variable. So original ifs equals ifs, then we change its value, ifs equals comma, and after we're done working with it, we restore it to its original value. So ifs equals original ifs. Okay, so let's save this. Basically we're just setting the value of ifs, and as I said, the star parameter will only use the first character, and in order to demonstrate that, let's just add another set of characters in here and save this. And if we execute our script, now our list of parameters is separated by a comma instead of space. And remember, if we remove the quotes, $* will not use this variable, so it will just ignore it. It will simply separate the parameters by space. Well, that's interesting. It appears that somehow the IFS variable is still affecting this somehow. Let's try removing these lines and see what happens now. Okay. And if we assign just one character and restore original IFS and execute, it executes correctly now. So it seems that something happens when we add in multiple characters in the IFS. So now it still displays correctly, and if I add in space, it still displays correctly. It seems that it only acts funny when we have a comma in here followed by something else. Nope. Now it's back to its regular behavior. So if we add the exact same thing, so we just found a very interesting and strange behavior in Bash. Either way, officially, whenever you use the asterisk parameter without quotes, it should simply separate your parameter values by space, and it shouldn't use the IFS variable for anything. Regardless, with the default IFS value, this acts just the way we want it to, because we just want to access the raw list of parameters for our script. So let's get back to editing our script, and we'll be using this parameter within the script. And what we'll do is we'll echo. We will pass a question onto the script, and basically this script will give us an answer to that question. So let's echo you asked, and then our parameter list here. Now this is quoted right now, but it shouldn't be an issue. If we don't want it quoted, we could just do this. We could remove the quotes altogether. And then echo I say onto you, and let's just add a new line before this and the dash E so it can interpret the new line character. And now we can implement a case. And we pass the star parameter to our case in, and now we test for different values, different questions in our case. what is life, or what is my purpose, or does God exist? And parenthesis, echo, too deep, bro. Another question, how are you? Parenthesis, echo, excellent, thank you. And what's up, doc? Parenthesis, echo. Thumb things down. And finally, we can add a default case. So whenever our question doesn't match any of these questions so far, star parenthesis and echo, I don't get you, dude. And we can end our case with esac, which is the reverse of case. esac. And that's pretty much it. So let's save our script and execute. Ask Alexa, what is life? And we have a syntax error, so let's check it out on line 10. Okay. I messed up the syntax here, unfortunately. So this is pretty important. You have to close this using a double semicolon. And save and execute. You asked what is life, I say unto you, too deep, bro. What is my purpose? Too deep, bro. So it's the same case. Now let's do how are you? Excellent, thank you. And let's try a different question. How is the weather? And it says I don't get you, dude. So it executes the default case. And what else did we have in there? Let's see. Okay, so we have what's up doc here. Let's try that. And note that here we need to escape the apostrophe. What's up doc? And it says something's down, because if we for bash, the apostrophe means that you're typing the rest of the parameters on a new line. So you could do this, enter an apostrophe, and then type in your question here, what's up doc, and then it will pass on those parameters to the script. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for this script of ours. Just to recap, the star parameter, $, gives you the list of parameter values passed on to your script, separated by space, or when you quote the star parameter, it uses the first character in the ifs variable as a separator. But we are not using that here. And the case command basically has this simple syntax: case var in value 1 parenthesis command double semicolon value 2 command double semicolon, and you can enter as many cases as you like, and finally you have the default case for when there is no match, and you have your other commands in here, and ended by esac. Now normally, let's quickly move these lines here. Normally I just do it like this, but I'm curious if this also works with a single semicolon. No, it doesn't. And what if we enter and add the semicolon on a new line here? Nope. Okay. Yeah. So in case you want to enter multiple commands here, I think this would be the best style to use. So case var in value 1 parenthesis, then command 1 command 2 and so on and so forth, and finally ended by a double semicolon, and then continue with the other cases. So this is in case you need to use multiple commands in your cases, which sometimes you will need to. And I think that's pretty much it for today. I hope you enjoyed this and found this useful. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Next time we'll be going into loops in Bash. So stay tuned and keep learning.